I'd like to call to order the Westmont Village Board meeting of July 19th, 2018 at 6 o'clock p.m. and ask Clerk Simsky for a roll call.
Mayor Gunther?
Here.
The clerk's here. Trustee Addington?
Here.
Trustee Barker?
Here.
Trustee Barry?
Here.
Trustee Guzzo?
Here.
Trustee Little?
Here.
Trustee Nero?
Here.
Attorney Carrera?
Here.
It's nice to see you.
Thank you.
Village Manager May?
Here.
Finance Director Parker?
Here. Would everybody please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'd like to welcome everybody here this evening. And first item is open forum. I do have a request. If there's anybody else here who'd like to talk about an item that's not on the agenda, Chief is standing there. You can see him. If not, we'll start with the one that I have. Daniel Chanel, 4034 North Adams, would like to speak about the open position of Director of Community Development and then introduce himself as a potential candidate. You.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to take a brief moment today to introduce myself to you. My name is Dan Chanel. I've been a member of the Westmont community for 20 years now. I live in the Liberty Park area with my wife of 16 years, and I have two children who go to CUSD 201 in the junior high and the senior high as well. I have recently submitted my application to be considered for the position of Director of Community of Development in the Village of Westmont. And I'm very excited about this opportunity, so that's the reason why I wanted to come here today to introduce myself. If selected, this would give me a chance to serve within the community, which is really the driving force of why I'm excited about this position. And this is a community that I've come to love over time. I grew up in Chicago, and Westmont really truly is my home. I love living here. I've worked in the private sector for about 25 years as a mechanical engineer. I'm currently the Vice President of Engineering for an industrial manufacturing and construction company in the Chicagoland area. And I believe that I have some pertinent experience in managing large projects, both to my company's end user customers, as well as some major corporate initiatives which I have executed from initial inquiry all the way through completion. So I have management all the way through the cycle. I'm a forward-thinking, goal-oriented, and self-motivated professional. In my current position, I have an active role that is forward-facing to our customers. I collaborate with them, meet with them to meet their needs in a way that solves their problems, that meets their expectations, produces value to them, and also remains on budget. That's very important. I have excellent organizational and communication skills, and my background in mechanical engineering I think will allow me to marry technical knowledge as well as a systematic approach to achieve results, along with my passion to serve others for the common good and the vision of Westmont. I believe that these skills are really directly transferable to this position, and I believe that I'd be a good fit for Westmont as you execute your strategic plan 2021. That being said, I know that there is a process for reviewing and vetting candidates to find the best fit for this position. I look forward to that process, and I do hope that my candidacy will be further considered. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I would have to say, first time we ever had that. That's unique.
I don't recall.
I don't
ever.
Someone, but yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
If seeing no other open forum requests, I'll close open forum. Move on to reports, and I just have one quick item. Our sister city visitors last week from July 8th through the 18th, and I want to invite Larry McIntyre to give a full report, or give a report.
A full report.
A full report.
To do that.
A smaller report today. Thank you,
That's
Mayor.
what you said for me to say.
Well, our hope is by the administration committee meeting, which is 2 weeks from now, to give the full report. At that time, we're going to do a comprehensive top to bottom report on everything that's happened. But we did want to quickly just say that it was a very busy week and a very successful week, and very appreciative of everybody involved. It was a situation where A lot of planning went into it, but everybody in the community, not only staff, elected officials, but outside organizations, everybody got involved, really rolled up their sleeves and made it very successful. So a lot of thanks and appreciation. And then the week culminated with a letter of intent signing ceremony between the mayor and the magistrate on Sunday, in which there's definitely some specific goals for economic development. So we were very excited about that. And I thought I'd just go ahead and put it on the screen here real quick. This was the letter of intent that was signed. And then I'm going to just show a couple of pictures real quick. This is our third year for the Taste of Westmont, Taste of Taiwan food booth. And as had been mentioned previously, they brought in a gourmet chef as well as 2 student chefs. So there's 3 chefs working the booth all weekend. That was very, very cool and very exciting. I'm going to show one more picture here. This was day 1, Monday morning when they arrived here at Village Hall, and we were able to get many people from the community and the village organization to get involved with that. But overall, we just thought it was a great event, and we've only heard ecstatic reviews from them. So that's all.
I think to add to that, we had an opportunity on Saturday to have one of their cultural activities at the high school. And today we had a chance with meeting with 2 businessmen from Taiwan that's looking to invest in Westmont. So I think a lot of good things are coming out of that. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
That's all I have. I'll turn to Clerk Simsky.
I just want to remind everybody that the community garage sale will be held August 3rd, 4th, and 5th between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. For any information you need, visit westmont.illinois.gov for details. And I want to congratulate everyone on the Taiwanese visit. I mean, it was fun, it was interesting, and of course, the taste of Westmont. You people just, I'm looking at Linda because she's one of the biggies with it. And it was as good as usual. So the weather just was a little difficult to deal with at times. So that's all.
I forgot to compliment the taste too. Run by all volunteers, so that's why it's important. I'll start with Trustee Nero.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few items. Our next Public Works Committee meeting is Thursday, August 30th. And just a reminder that July 26th is Public Works Truck Night at our cruising night. So please make sure you come out. They always do a good job. And of course, thanks to everyone, including Trustee Little and all those at WSCC. Taste of Westmont was a lot of fun, and it was, honestly, as it was every year, we always have a great time. So thank you to all the volunteers. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'm going to go to the trustee that spent every hour at the taste.
And more.
And more.
My feet hurt.
Trustee Little.
Thank you, Mayor. The next Administration Finance Committee meeting will be held in this room August the 2nd at 4:30, so please come out and join us for that one. Westmont Cruising Nights and Street Fair is happening right now, weather permitting, so come out and join us for those. August the 9th is Fire Truck Night, and that's going to be very exciting. We've got some surprises in store for that one. I'll hold that one until next meeting. But if I could ask Larry McIntyre to step back up here, we have some information about Muddy Waters exhibit and the Eddie Clearwater exhibit too, please.
Thank you very much. Just want to show a couple of photos from Taste of Westmont. Every year we try to do something unique and different for the music lineup, and the picture on the screen right now is from Saturday night. The band was called Tusk. They were a Fleetwood Mac tribute band, and for those of us who have been involved with Taste from the beginning, this was one of our largest crowds ever, definitely within the top 5. The place was completely packed, and so that was extremely exciting. And this is picture of the same night, reverse angle, but as you can see, quite a few people there. Something that many of you are probably aware of, Eddie Clearwater, former resident of Westmont and a Blues Hall of Fame legend, passed earlier this year. It was on June 1st, and since that time I've been working with the family to honor Eddie, And on Sunday at the Taste, Renee, which is Eddie's wife and his publicist, they came out to be part of the Blues Jam, and they donated more artifacts for the Muddy Waters Museum. In addition, we're working with DuPage County Museum to put some of those artifacts, not only from the Eddie Clearwater display, but also the Muddy Waters display in Wheaton. And so that'll bring more attention to Westmont for what we have going on. But just wanted to show a couple pictures of that. If you recall, Lonnie Brooks, another blues legend, used to play in Westmont quite a bit. Yes. The gentleman on the left of that photo, that's Ronnie Baker Brooks, one of his sons. And he's performed here before, but he came out specifically for the Eddie Clearwater tribute. And the images that you see there in the middle, that's some of Eddie's stage wear, which has now been donated to the Muddy Waters exhibit. So those things will be on display soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I too want to thank all the volunteers that came out for the Taste of Westmont. We had so many volunteers out there, from the beer tent to EMA doing work. We had the police department, we had the fire department with 1883 command center set up. We had EMA, or we had a first aid booth that was manned and held. To my knowledge, I only heard of 2 incidents that were taken care of within 10 minutes. So I think that everything went well, and I don't think that there were anything major other than, you know, my own personal heart attacks and sore feet. So I think it went over extremely well, and I'm very happy with our success. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Barker.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of things this evening. First of all, I just want to say, you know, that thank you to staff, Westmont Special Events, all those volunteers for the Sister City program and Taste of Westmont, above and beyond the call of duty. I was so proud of this community in the last 2 weeks. It's been phenomenal. So thank you for all of that work. And then on behalf of the Environmental Improvement Committee, I'd like to call up Jenny Babiar and Larry McIntyre to talk about a couple of things that the Environmental Improvement Committee is trying to get involved in, as well as remind everybody that we'll have our next meeting on August 6th at 6 p.m. in the library. So take it away.
I'll just quickly introduce Jenny. Those of you who know her already, not only a great worker and a great positive person in our village organization, but also a tremendous artist and creative force. And I'm lucky to have her and Allison, if Allison can come over as well, within the communications department. But anyway, Jenny had an idea about how to promote water barrels, rain barrels, and I'm going to let her talk about that.
Hello. So a few months ago, you know, hearing all the buzz about Richmond Gardens and the excitement between the Environmental Improvement Commission and Clarendon Hills working with Westmont, I thought of an idea to help promote by using a rain barrel. So Public Works and EIC was generous enough to donate an unpainted rain barrel, which this used to be orange, believe it or not. You might be able to see a little bit in there. So I decided to paint this as kind of a garden theme with butterflies and bees, flowers. It is a working rain barrel. It is very functional. Just wanted to donate this hand-painted rain barrel to help promote Richmond Gardens in hopes of raising awareness and raising funds to help the gardens get built. And we're hoping to display it maybe at cruising nights through the end of the year, raffle it off, and use that raffle money for proceeds towards Richmond
We
Gardens.
can fill that barrel with money, we'll be doing good.
Yeah,
There you go, yeah.
Yeah,
Few hundred of them.
looks great.
it's a good idea, Bruce.
Beautiful.
That is a great idea, Bruce.
Feel free to come up close.
Very nice.
We're working on the details of the raffle, but probably by early next week, we'll be promoting that. And as Jenny said, the goal is to raise money and awareness for Richmond Gardens, as well as all initiatives by EIC.
Thank you so much. You want to talk about those too?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. That's beautiful.
So Allison has declined to talk, but Allison is going to a very valued member of our communications department since January, and she's been working with us on the promotion of everything that we do as well. And so this is one of the items that's almost done, and we're going to be printing these out and passing them out throughout the community. But basically, it's promotion for Richmond Gardens. So it's what's the buzz all about? And this is a trifold. I like that. So there's information in here about Richmond Gardens, how people can get involved, how they can donate money, contact info on the back, which Dan Ungerleiter for Village of Clarendon Hills is the contact for them. And then on our end, of course, it's Bruce and Trustee Little from EIC, but also John Yater as staff. And so there's folks in here to contact about all things Richmond Gardens. And then also, Bruce had come up with the idea of creating a donation container. And so we're going to probably create a dozen or so of these and put them throughout the community. And once again, it's twofold in our purpose. One, to promote what we're doing with Richmond Gardens, but then also raise some money. So.
We're trying to keep pace with Clarendon Hills.
Yeah.
And we just want that garden done so that people can utilize it, the kids can go there and learn. I've been posting the bee activity on Facebook, but it's going to be a great place, which was typically a dead-end corner, and it's turning into something educational for our kids and our schools,
Yes.
our communities. So thank you for your work there, and there'll be more to follow.
Well, I do have to say, even though Allison doesn't want to talk now, she comes from a swimming family, and she had a lot to talk about this afternoon about an agenda item coming up. So, you know she can't talk. So, Trustee Eddington.
Thank you, Mayor. We had the Community Development Committee meeting before this one today, and quite a few things on the agenda. I'll try to go through them very quickly. First one was that our Gateway Sign project is about a third of the way through now. There's a couple areas that still need some work, working around utilities and other things, but I think you'll see that the signs are starting to go up in different places, and they're working on some of the landscaping and parkway plans, especially along Cass up by 35th Street. So again, that's part of the beautification of people coming into town, and have show people a better presence, a nicer look as they come into town. So that continues. We talked about some complaints that had been made regarding the parking of trailers and motorhomes. So there's going to be more information that's going to be put together on that, but you know, working on that. There was also some discussion about maintenance of property along the parkways and in the alleys. And I think one of the most important things that came out of that discussion was that because of the alleys and the importance of our public safety, especially police and fire, we're going to ask residents to consider seriously, or to put addresses on the backs along the alleys. I think that that's extremely important. It will help both the police and the fire department locate you if there's a problem in your property or at your house, and it's in the back. So there'll be more on that later, but there'll be more coming. We've got 2 new employees, which is always nice. And then we'll be talking about the BMW site a little bit. And finally, there was some updates to us on things like our code enforcement efforts and the number of engineering permits and building permits, which continue to be very, very strong. And so a good report and a lot of updated information. As far as other things go, the Lions Club of Westmont became very much involved in the visit from the folks from Taiwan, because it turned out that I think 7 or 8 of the visitors from Taiwan were Lions, including the council chair for Honshu County, who is a past district governor for the Lions. I think he was past district governor the year after me for their district in Taiwan, which is District 300. So we are now talking with them about the possibility of the Westmont Lions and one of the clubs in District 300 in Hsinchu County to twin with us, which would only solidify and strengthen the Sister City program even more. So that's in the works. I think we had a good time. The Lions Club threw a breakfast for them, and I do know that they enjoyed that because they ate well. And with that, the other things to mention, just briefly, for those who husbands have selective hearing loss, August 16th, the Lions will again be bringing to our street fair on the 16th, Thursday the 16th. We will have the hearing bus and the eye bus to do free screenings. Bring your families out and we'll take care of that. Going back to this thing with the folks from Taiwan, we also found out that we have another hidden treasure here in Westmont, another international company. Now, I knew they were a nice company, but I had no idea the magnitude. But Joe and Lily Chow from China Furniture, that's really an international company. They have clients all over the world. And most of their furniture, all their furniture really comes from Taiwan. But very, very nice people. If you get a chance, stop in. They like people to stop in and talk to them and see what they have to offer. But again, another, I think, secret of a company here in town that's really international in scope. And we have several of those, and I think that's really exciting. The last thing I have is that DuPage Mayors and Managers Conference Legislative Committee is not going to meet this month. Springfield is quiet. Everybody's on vacation. They passed the budget, so there's nothing going on right now. But starting in August and September, we will be working on those items that we think should be part of our legislative package going forward. So if any of you, or Manager May, if any of you have items that you think should be discussed to put on the legislative agenda for DuPage Mayors and Managers, please let me know so that we can put it on the list and discuss it at the legislative committee meeting. And I think that's important. Some items will be carry forward that didn't get handled this year. They were already there, but it's always nice to know if there's new things that we need to press forward that's better for our community. And that's all I have, sir.
Well, thank you. Just China Furniture is on the northeast corner of Cass and Richmond.
Richmond, right. Thank you. I should have said that.
Trustee Guzzo.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple things. Next Public Safety Committee meeting will be Thursday, August 16th in this room at 4:30. Everyone is invited to attend. Westmont Fire Truck Night, as Trustee Little said, will be August 9th. Come on out. It's always a wonderful time. Hopefully the weather will be nice, which we'll put our order in early. Fire Department 95th Anniversary Celebration. Save the date. The Fire Department will be celebrating their 95th anniversary on Saturday, October 13th from 1 to 3 p.m. at the South Fire Station. Members are still handing out save the dates, so everyone please put that on your calendar. It's going to be a great time. And the Police Department will be hosting National Night Out. The Westmont Police Department and Westmont Special Events are working together to promote Westmont's second annual Night Out as part of a cruising nights. The date is August 2nd, and activities will be held in the Manning School parking lot. And then last but definitely not least, I want to thank everyone with special events, the Sister Cities programs, everybody, village departments, everybody that came out. It was a great time. Thanks. Can't wait till next year. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Trustee Barry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have an exciting ribbon cutting coming up for Sweet and Savory Spot, and this is what we call the Old Brown's Chicken on Cass Avenue. That'll be Friday, August 17th at 4:30 p.m. And I'm sorry, it's 15 South Cass is the actual address. You can RSVP at chamber.com. Larry's going to share a picture with us, but this is also very exciting. The Special Olympics Unified Rhythmic Gymnastics Team, which trains at our Expression Dance Studio, will perform at Soldier Field this Saturday, July 21st. And this is part of the Special Olympics 50th Anniversary Celebration Global Day of Inclusion Festival. And I know our police department's involved with the Special Olympics, and this is our picture from Expression. So very exciting that the kids will be able to perform there. So thank you, Larry. And lastly, the Lions is not the only service club in town. We have the Rotary Club is also in town. And we had a international business speak to us from town this week, as InterVarsity Press, which again is one of those hidden gems that exports throughout the world. And they've done a very unique prairie restoration in front of their building that was done just on their own, not forced by the village. So that was very exciting to hear from, again, one of our local, somewhat international businesses. And then we were also followed up with an exciting report with our Rotaract, which is the high school program, and it was headed by Ashley Liljeberg, who is our own Glenn Liljeberg's daughter, and she presented to our whole club on all the exciting activities that they have upcoming and their need to want to do more in the community. So it was really great to see that District 2, the high school at 201 is into these programs and had a great representation. And then lastly, we just always encourage to shop, dine, and discover Westmont. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Moving on the agenda. Number 6, public hearing. Fiscal year 2018-2019 appropriation ordinance public hearing. Every year we need to conduct a public hearing prior to the approval of the budget and appropriation ordinance. It's got to be done within the first 60 days, and we're May 1st, so we're within that. And at this point, I'm going to open it up if anybody has any comments about the budget. We've addressed it a couple times. You sit down. Park District. Then I will close open forum, and I do have one agenda item change. I'm going to ask that the agenda item I, which is the approval, be moved to the first item under new business. So I'm going to move that, which shouldn't be that long. But so, does anybody have any items to remove from the consent agenda? Seeing none, I'd ask Manager May to please read.
First on the consent agenda this evening are the village board minutes. Board to consider approving the minutes of the village board meeting held July 5, 2018. We have finance ordinance number 6 in the amount of $1,473,669.25. There are 2 purchase orders. First purchase order is Mr. Duct Incorporated, $23,359. Represents duct cleaning in all village buildings. And the second purchase order is Doors by Russ, $24,000, was for the replacement fire bay doors at fire station. The total of finance ordinance with the 2 purchase orders is $1,521,028.25, and that does complete the consent agenda.
Do I have a motion to approve as presented?
Motion to approve, Little.
Second, Nero.
Motion made and second. On the question. Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Barry?
Yes.
Trustee Addington?
Yes.
Trustee Nero?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Motion passes. Unfinished business. 5802 and 5806 Western Avenue, Clarendon Hills, involuntary annexation. We just got information this is going to continue to be unfinished business because they're not ready yet.
That's the request.
The request is because they didn't get their permits yet officially from DuPage County. And so if the board's okay with that, I need a motion to postpone it,
Postpone it if you choose, and then to a
future
time
meeting.
that you choose.
Just to a future date.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to postpone to a future date so we don't lock them and they have to come every meeting and ask for more.
Second, Barker.
Motion made in second. Any questions?
I have one other thing to add, that there are 2 addresses for the item because it's one island, but 2 parcels. So there was only one of the 2 parcels that's looking for the extension. I think the other one would prefer that we weren't doing it at all, but, so, I mean, neither one's in a hurry, to have this done, but I just wanted to let you know it affects 2 addresses.
And again, we're doing this, squares up the boundaries in that area and connects it to Westmont. Seeing no other questions, I'd ask for a roll call, please.
Trustee Addington?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Barry?
Yes.
Trustee Nero?
Yes.
Motion passes. I'll move item I to the beginning of new business, and that's the fiscal year 2018-19 appropriations ordinance. And the board to consider an ordinance adopting the fiscal year 2018-2019 appropriations ordinance, and I'll turn to Director Parker.
I'll go through this very briefly. The board's very aware of the process and very aware of the budget. But briefly, for the benefit of the public, the budget and appropriation process starts with the budget process where the board identifies the plans for what they actually intend to spend and where we think the money is going to be spent. That was completed in April. The next step is then to adopt this appropriations ordinance, which is the total maximum spending that the village can spend without coming back for additional approval from the village board. So this is where we take into account all the different contingencies and say, all right, here's what we actually plan to budget, but we're going to grant authority to spend a little bit higher amounts in all sorts of different categories just to make sure that we're covered. And this gets filed with the county. It's just a procedural step.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve, Little?
Second, Barry.
Motion been made and second to approve. On the question, I failed to mention during public hearing that Julie is back there from the library if you had a question on their budget as part of our appropriation ordinance. So seeing no questions,
She'd rather be at cruising nights anyway.
yeah. I'd ask for a,
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Barry?
Yes.
Trustee Addington?
Yes.
Trustee Nero?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
yes, motion passes.
You go
New
home.
business, A, 660 Black Hawk Drive, Westmont Park District Natatorium. Board to consider an ordinance approving the site and landscaping plans for 660 Black Hawk Drive from the Westmont Park District and FMC Aquatic Opportunities for a natatorium in the M Manufacturing District. And I forget, Village Planner Joe Hernefine.
Good enough.
He's practiced all
I
afternoon.
pressed all afternoon. You scared me. You're up there.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and the board. So what's before you tonight is 660 Black Hawk Drive, which is actually a Westmont Park District property for a project I think we're all very familiar with. So it's for the construction of a natatorium. What's being requested tonight and to consider is an ordinance approving a site and landscaping approval. So this is a 5-acre site. This is a site that was part of the overall donation with Ty Warner. It's the south annex, or it's the south lot that has the soccer fields. And so the project itself is the one that was for 2 years now at the Hilton property. It is relocated to this site. Staff, I think, feels this is an excellent site. There's many different benefits to the community, to the park district, and to the applicant. It is a 60,000 square foot Olympic-sized indoor aquatic facility with 297 parking spaces. What is very different is it is just a site and landscaping approval. So there are no variances, there are no special uses, there are no special conditions. So it meets all the landscape requirements, it meets all the stormwater requirements. The stormwater would be placed underneath. There still will be large events, and through the public hearing process, there will still be an agreement set that for the large events that they are planned out in advance, that they are brought before the board, and that we evaluate them afterwards. I think that the overall effect will be similar to some of the large activities that already occur at Ty Warner. So there will be a lot of coordination. It will be a very beneficial project to the community. I'm always available for any questions. The applicant is here, the park district is here, so we can answer your questions if necessary.
Before we have a motion, can I ask for Mary Ann, I guess you're the appropriate one, maybe to give a little bit more information about the natatorium? When you plan on putting a shovel in tomorrow? No.
Tonight.
Yeah.
Still daylight.
For the record, you have to state your name.
Mary Ann Kaufman, and I'm with FMC Aquatics Opportunities, ready to break ground with FMC Natatorium at 660 Black Hawk Drive. So our goal is to break ground actually in the first week of August, so, or at least fence up, get everything ready, and then go from there. It looks like it will be a 12 to 14-month project. We're hoping more like 12. And we're excited to be here. Any other questions?
Do you have something to show us?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah, we do.
Mary Ann's worked very hard on this. She wants to show it off a little bit.
Good.
So we actually show it at Black Hawk Drive.
Here we are.
Okay.
So here's the site plan. The site plan.
I'll let him go through.
Yeah, and
Our
just
civil engineer.
Anthony Martini with Mackey Consultants. We're the civil engineer, and we've been helping Mary Ann on. This is the third location she's been at, but I'm sure the board is well aware of those struggles. So just to give context of where we're at, we're on the south portion of Ty Warner Park. Bob's got a great soccer field there with a stormwater basin for some of the adjacent car dealerships. Some remnant parking lot on the east part of the site that comes along and then kind of wraps in off Plaza Drive. To give you context of what was there before, you had a large Everpure building, a manufacturing facility. This is a picture circa 2002-ish, but you see a lot of parking lot, a very large, expansive building towards the south part of that project. That building was demolished. Some of the remnant parking lot still remains on the site. But just to give you a context of what you're going to get instead of that big, ugly building is a pretty impressive building with a facade that Mary Ann's worked very, very hard on perfecting. She's had a couple different opportunities. So here's what you'll see. And as much as Ty Warner is really a gem of Westmont, Mary Ann had really wanted this to be a gem for Ty Warner. The building is kind of put up towards the roadway on the south face of the park. It's a pedestrian-oriented building with the parking lot off to the side. What you'll see here in a couple slides back is where we had located our parking lot was where an existing stormwater facility already exists, and that serves the adjacent dealerships to the south. There's an agreement and an easement in that area. We're replacing that with an underground detention vault and respecting those easement rights of those adjacent property owners. So you'll see part of that was we worked with the village planning staff and kind of oriented the building to face the park. So there's some pretty pictures. We got plenty of people here to answer questions. Thank you for the opportunity to come and present.
And I think as far as, we had a question from a resident as far as water retention, detention, and how it affects.
Well, there were several points of outreach that came either by email or phone or contact. Some of them were, I don't want to say confusion, but there's a relationship with the project and the Park District being the Park District property, and then the Village Westmont and the Park District as well for stormwater management components. So one of the questions was regarding stormwater management, and the concern dated back to when it was at the other site on the Hilton campus, if you will, how it affected downstream properties, of which this was also tributary to. So the concern was making sure that we continue to take into consideration the impact of the downstream, of which we would do with any project. So they touched on the stormwater management project. The stormwater management, it is for off-site properties, but as well as the site itself, and it's being enhanced and actually will be of a better condition than it was before they started. So the concern was raised, but we don't have that concern. It is something that's paid attention to from the beginning. There was another, I can think of one other email-generated one that was kind of mostly traffic-based, and that is something that not only was looked into, but it was looked into simultaneously and previously when the Westmont Drive closure was done. So the impact of the traffic signal at Ogden and Black Hawk, and the impact of the intersections at Plaza and Cass, have been looked at all along as well. It was just something they didn't see from presentation at planning and zoning or or otherwise. So they're, you know, they're mostly late questions, not that that's a problem, but just wanted to assure everybody that all these things were paid attention to.
And the one was from the president of, and I think they talked to Steve, to Matt Johnson, who's the president of the
I'll
Oakwood.
call him out by name.
But he was on the letter. I want him to know we talked about it. He's
Okay.
the president of the Oakwood Homeowners Association, so, and one of his suggestions was to detain the water under parking lot, which you are.
We are.
So we're following through on his suggestion, even though you're doing it anyway, so.
We're giving him credit for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, he seemed relieved to understand the project, how it was going. There was still some concerns of, you know, during construction, debris and things, you know, slipping into the storm sewers and ending up in Lake Charles. And I told him I would just raise that. I mean, everybody agrees it's a beautiful project, but they're just fearful that something potentially, if silt fence goes away or something doesn't get stopped, that the village is aware and that the developer obviously is aware of that, just to keep kind of a close eye on that. And I think that's pretty valid.
Yeah.
Ron, I think you have another public comment?
Yeah, I was gonna wait for the motion, and then I'm gonna open it up to the public.
I would like a motion to approve 660 Black Hawk Drive, the natatorium.
Second, Little.
Motion's been made and second to approve the site plan for the natatorium. On the question, anybody in the audience who'd like to address this topic, now's the time. Come on up. Yeah, you need to just tell us who you are. Up there, yeah.
My name's Lucille Dulce. I'm on the Oakwood residence. I just have a question, but I know that the natatorium, they're going to have like people around the nation to come to our area at the natatorium. How many times a year are you going to have those type of events? I want to know. I'm just concerned about a lot of traffic, like they said initially. So if you could address that issue too as well.
The events that you're talking about are what we will technically call peak events. Probably once a year, if we could, you know, they're bid on 3 years out, so we'll know. No. No. I mean, if we could get a couple of them a year, that would be fantastic, but we'll know way in advance. We'll have plans in place and.
And would you monitor like who's calls and like sometimes people?
Oh, no. Yeah, so that's something that's a little bit different with the natatorium. So we have a list of every swimmer that's swimming, and there's a timeline, so we know exactly who's swimming at what time of the day. And so that's why it's basically, you know, people come in and swim, and then they leave the natatorium, others are coming. It's kind of an ebb and flow throughout the day. But yes, it's a targeted audience. The people that are coming there are from other clubs. We know their coaches, we know their volunteers are all background checked in order to be on deck. I mean, it's really a neat way to do things in an organization. I mean, I think you guys will be really pleased when you see that it's not chaotic at all. It'll be very well organized.
And you have worked with the school district as far as providing additional parking during that event.
I shouldn't speak for you. Bob had a conversation with them. I did way back, but.
State your name for the record.
I don't know him.
Ron Gunter, no. Bob Fleck, Westmont Park District, Executive Director. I've had numerous conversations with the superintendent of the school district. They are very eager to have this in the community as well. It's obviously opportunities for the school as well. They're more than willing to offer up their parking lots as overflow parking at these peak events or even during some of the other events. You should know that Mary Ann has had numerous conversations with us about the planning, the programming, not only for her, but for the park district as well. We're going to know well in advance when these programs and these peak events are going to be happening. We can program around them. Mary Ann has also shared with us that during our major events, 4th of July, Red, White, and Barbecue, she's not going to have events. We will not have those conflicts there. I know that was a concern raised by a couple residents as well. We're going to be able to keep those intact. Exactly what's going to happen this first year for red, white, and barbecue. That remains to be seen. We've got some creative brainstorming that's going to happen, but I'm fully confident, the park board's fully confident about this relationship and working together here, not only between the park district and the natatorium, but with the village and the school district as well.
And Bob, you want to comment on the loss of that 5 acres? You're going to recoup it with working with us on Warwick?
Correct. I'm going to actually start with the soccer field first, and then I'll go to that question second. Obviously, there's a disposition of the soccer field that is up there right now. It is our largest soccer field. It's not lit. Junior high uses it, and then multiple soccer groups use it as well. And amateur barbecuers for the barbecue contest. It is our intent to do what we can to move it across the street. We're working on that right now. We're going to be working with FMC's construction manager to try and make this happen in a reasonable time. Of course, we have to look at all the plans for it, and we have to look at the budgeting process for that as well. For the loss of the 5 acres, we are working with village staff and administration and the board. We are going to obtain the acreage that is on Warwick Street that the village has been acquiring and add that to Fritz Worley Park. And that will make up for the loss of this, and Park District will then go into the intergovernmental agreements that we've had in place for many years, where the village maintains its responsibility over the stormwater infrastructure, and the Park District becomes a steward of open space. So that's the trade-off for the disposition of this 5 acres. Historically, I believe everyone here probably knows this, but for the rest of the public, this was originally slated to be a pool site, and in 2005, the Park District went to referendum. It failed twice, but it always been intended to be the location of an aquatic facility. That would have been a 3-month facility, operated June, July, and August, outdoor facility. This, in our opinion, is a great trade-off. It's a win-win because it's 12 months out of the year. It will bring people into the community of Westmont, increase your revenues, and it's still maintained as public recreation for the common good, which is what Mr. Warner intended when he bought this property for the Park District.
And again, the Warwick property, first and foremost, will be for stormwater management. That's
Correct.
why we acquired it. And as an auxiliary function, the park will maintain it as a park.
Mm-hmm.
And the greatest thing about this time versus then is people's taxes aren't going up to get this. And that's a key factor to it also, that was voted down. So
We have a foundation that is going to operate this, staff this, and put money back into it to maintain it over the life of the agreement. And again, that will not be any additional cost to the Park District's operations.
Right.
Anybody else in the audience has a comment? I was waiting for you, Joe.
Joseph Hicks. I'm an employee of Mr. Werner's. And when I met Marianne in the Park District and the village back in April about this site, we met on a Friday, and we talked separately. After that initial meeting, brought everyone back in, went in for Mr. Werner's approval. I've been with Mr. Werner for about 15 years, and I'd have to say it was the easiest approval I've ever received. Shortly after he gave me his approval, he asked, why aren't they breaking ground yet? So he's excited about the project. He supports the project. He's met with Marianne and her business advisor, and we're just excited to see this get approved and come to fruition once and for all. And just to elaborate on what Bob said, I think it's more than a win-win. I think it's a win-win-win and maybe another win. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Seeing nobody else in the...
I'm just going to close by saying, on behalf of the Park Board and the Park District, thank you. I don't think the public understands how much cooperation and time went in amongst all parties to make this happen. So congratulations to everybody, to the village working together. You know, this is what the community deserves when these things happen. So everybody's to be commended on that.
Thank you. Close the open forum on the public. Trustees, yes?
You know, it probably was answered before and I wasn't paying attention. For the, will this have a diving platform like you see at the Olympics?
Not a platform, but it will have a 3-meter board and
boards,
three 1-meter boards. So
Wow.
we'll be able to host like a Division II or a Division III conference meet, but not a tower. Too much liability.
That's great.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
Just, yes, Trustee Gardner.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's very easy to speak on this. A long time coming, long process for everybody. I really appreciate the, you know, mutual cooperation all around and all the work that staff has done and the Park District, Park Board, and Mary Ann, of course. Your hard work and your generosity. Looks like we're going to have another good week.
Yep. Any other?
Just to echo, I also want to thank the Planning and Zoning Board too, because they've put a lot of hours into
Tremendous,
this.
yes.
And I want to say thank you to all of them because they actually ask the really hard questions and they make it much more easier for us to see positives or negatives. So
Yes.
thank you to them.
Absolutely. Any other? Yes.
Just like to thank Mary Ann for her patience and understanding.
Very
This has
nice,
been
yeah.
so
Long.
involved process, and to have it finally come about, thank you for sticking with us.
And I think we all feel that way.
Yes.
Nothing, Trustee
Good.
Nero?
No, my swimsuit's ready, so
Yeah.
let's go.
This is,
Well, if not, we
you know,
better.
the only other thing I want to say, and I know we've said this before, if anybody doesn't think that this is going to be an economic boom for our restaurants and for the hotels here in town, this is going to generate so much. I can't think of any other thing that you could bring in that will generate for our existing businesses what this has the potential of doing. And it's going to put Westmont on the map big time. Even though we should be there already because we're stars, this even puts it on even more. So again, I think, Mayor, you're going to bring something to this that's unbelievable. And I don't want you to wait until August.
Yes. If no other comments, I'd ask for a roll call, please.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Motion passes. We look forward to that groundbreaking. Thank you.
Yeah.
Moving on, the 63rd and Cass redevelopment, Bradford Westmont 4 LLC. And the board to consider ordinance approving the following requests from Bradford Westmont 4 LLC, Sidcor Westmont Associates LP, IM Properties 11, and Bradford IM Westmont Venture LLC related to the zoning and development of the shopping center generally located at the northwest corner, South Cass Avenue and West 63rd Street in Westmont. And we're going to address the 10 items that are on the agenda. We'll one by one, and I'll read them at the time we're, and I do have to say that we made them last again. I know they were last at planning and zoning, but a little different circumstances than talking at 11 o'clock at night. So, Joe, you're back on.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Board. It's an exciting night. So this is our second big project. I'm surprised we don't have more of a crowd for the applause. 63rd and Cass is a long time coming as well. This is a joint project. This is in our TIF district. This is an existing shopping center that everyone knows. I don't have to discuss it any further than that. I get to talk a little bit more on this one just because there's a few more line items. So it is a complicated project. I think your board agenda reports were 300 pages. Traffic studies have been done. All the due diligence has been done. It's, like I said, it's a joint project, so there's a stormwater element that the village is accommodating on our own sites to facilitate this redevelopment. So what's being asked tonight? So this is approximately a 12-acre site. The first is a text amendment to our zoning code for the C1 district, which is a C1 property. First, to allow fitness and health clubs, because one of the big users is LA Fitness, and also a general retail. So this was a little cleanup of our language to make it a little easier in the C1 district and a little less restrictive as tenants try to move into this space. And the whole C1 district benefits from that. Next is a map amendment to overlay this as a plan development. So this is a plan development. There will be a corresponding plan development agreement as well. Special use permits, there are 2 of them. So basically, this is trying to make it easier for users again. So one is for drive-throughs on 3 specific lots. So that if you know, special uses usually run with the owner, not with the land, like a variance. We wanted to remove that encumbrance so that if a drive-through facility or a restaurant has a change of ownership, that's not an additional burden there, so that when they try to market these properties, they know which of the lots are permitted to have drive-through uses on there. The other is a special use for the indoor theater. So the other element of this is approximately a 36,000 square foot multiplex there. Some variance requests for front yard setback. So basically parking exists in the front yard setback. They're almost to the 0 lot line. So cars almost park all the way up there. They are improving that to 12 feet, but the parking is still within the 30-foot setback. So they are greatly increasing the landscaping that's there. The other are 2 signage variances. One is for consistent monument signs for the outlots. The other is for LA Fitness, so they can get a second sign that can be seen from Cass Avenue, since it technically fronts to 63rd. There is the preliminary plat of subdivision, so it's actually a 7-lot subdivision, so this fixes the subdivision of Walgreens as well, and in addition to the inner lots that are there. Site and landscaping approval, that also includes Mariano's. So there is a cross-access connection, actually in 2 places. When Mariano's was built, this was anticipated. It was anticipated in 1 location. It's actually been included in 2 locations so that people can kind of flow over to the traffic light and take advantage of the light that was created there. And finally, as I mentioned, it's the plan development agreement. So in addition to the 36,000 square foot theater, the LA Fitness is 47,000 square feet. There is a new Raising Cane's, which is a fast food chicken restaurant that would be on 63rd that is part of this as well. And then 2 retail strip buildings along Cass Avenue that the petitioner is building as kind of a vanilla box spec build. And one of those has a drive-through associated with it. They received a unanimous positive recommendation through planning and zoning with 1 caveat, and that was there were a few improvements that could be done to the site plan. So the Planning and Zoning Commission recognized the need to move this forward. They gave staff the ability to work with the applicant to improve some landscaping on 63rd because it was still a bit thin, to look into the traffic pattern on 63rd, particularly where it meets Walgreens, to add a little more east-west pedestrian access because there is anticipated people walking through the site, especially from the lots that are on 63rd up to the movie theater. We didn't want them walking through the parking lot if they didn't have to. And then the addition of some temporary drives on the lots that aren't developing right away to make sure that the flow works as well as possible. The applicant has made significant improvements to those. Staff is very pleased with what was presented. As always, I'm here for questions as well as the applicant.
And I think at this point, we'd ask the applicant to come up and give us an overview. And I do have to say, when you mentioned Mariano's, this is the same development team that built Mariano's. And I think this process started 3 years ago or longer.
At least 3 years.
Yeah. So it's not something you could turn a switch on, and it takes a long time. So again, for the record, state your name and
Sure. My name is Jay Eck. I'm a principal with the Development Partnership. I'm here with Chad Jones. He's also a principal, and you probably had enough of him at the Plan Commission. So I'm here hopefully for the shorter meeting. Mayor, I'm glad you brought up the time frame, that we've been working on this. And a lot of times developers get too much credit for things happening, and there's not enough credit given to the community, because this project is really the result of substantial foresight that this village board and the staff and the village administration had years ago to put this in a TIF district. Knew that the intersection had seen its best days and wanted to make sure it came back. So we've been working with Westmont, as most of you know, for, when did we open Mariano's, Chad? Two years ago? No, I think it's 3? Okay.
It's been a while.
5, 6 years. It's
Yeah.
been a long, and that we really view that as phase 1. And as Joe mentioned, we provided for easements back then to integrate the 2 parcels. And that was a great success and a great partnership. This site has been really challenging for a lot of reasons, which I won't get into, but just a lot of different reasons. And but we're really glad to be here tonight, because it has been 3 years of hard work with, again, the board, the staff, everybody, to get this to work. So we're really pleased. We thank all of you for hanging in there with us. Hopefully we'll get approval tonight. But again, the credit goes to what Westmont has done over the years to set the stage for people like ourselves to be successful at an intersection like that. So having said that, quick run through on the site plan. What's the best way to do this? Can you see? Well, we have a 12-acre site. I'll just, I guess, stand over here.
Actually, Jay, if you point at the projector, at the sheet on the projector, we'll be able to see it on the screen.
Oh, great. Okay. So phase 1 obviously is the Marianos. Joe was referring to an easement that was previously approved as a part of phase 1 here. Marianos has been very cooperative with this redevelopment. Looking forward to an integration of the 2 projects. They also approved another connection, excuse me.
Jay, if it helps, he's trying to pick you up on audio, so if you can stand on that side,
sure.
Then you can.
So Mariano's was cooperative in providing the second access point up here. They also allowed for cross parking, which we thought was really important, again, to integrate the 2 shopping centers. And the shopping patterns are so different between a health club, their peak periods, a grocery store, and a cinema, that it was really a natural to integrate the parking. The phase 2, if you will, is about 12 acres. It's anchored by a 47,000 square foot LA Fitness Signature Club, so it's going to be their first signature club in the Chicagoland suburbs. It's their premium club, it's their highest end, and it's a new initiative that they're rolling out. So this initially started at 37,000 feet, and when they kicked it up to a signature club, it went to 47,000. So we feel really happy about that. The theater, we're working with 3 different theater groups, all best in class, high-end theaters. They're all about 40,000 feet, 10 to 12 screens, 800 to 1,000 seats. They take a little more time to get done. Again, won't go into the details on why, but it just takes some time with that. So we're not ready to publicly release which one we're going with, but we've had really good negotiations, and we'll be back before you very soon. As Joe mentioned, Raising Cane's has come into Chicago over the last couple of years. Super restaurant, huge cult following. Hopefully you guys will get out there and enjoy it. The lot next to it, lot 1A, we see a similar type of user locating there. On lot 2, as Joe mentioned, that's a couple of multi-tenant strip centers, probably kicked off by a Starbucks. We've been having some really good negotiations with them, and similar type quick serve restaurants and retail services. Lot 3, that's what we call kind of a flex lot, but with a cinema. We probably see that as being maybe a sit-down restaurant. That's our hope. So that really kind of takes care of the 12 acres and what we see happening here. Again, as Joe mentioned, there was, I think, 4 items at the Plant Commission And 3 of the 4 were addressed 100%, and the 4th was handled in an appropriate manner that everybody was comfortable with. So thanks for having us in your community, and I'm here for any more questions.
What I'll do first is, anybody from the audience has comment, question? Seeing none, then I'd ask for well, wait. I'm going to do comments first because there's 10 motions here.
I was going to say, you want these each sent individually.
I'll do one at a
yeah.
time, so I'll ask the board if there's any questions or comments. Trustee Barker.
Oops.
No, go ahead.
Oh,
I can wait.
I just wanted to thank Planning and Zoning.
Yeah.
I watched that meeting, and, you know, the last one that was going on 6 hours almost, but it was a long night for you folks and for them as well. But I think all that hard work made a better project. And, you know, if this project gets approved, being from the south side for about 26 years now, I think I've died and gone to heaven. I can go to the movie and eat chicken on that corner. So, very pleased with it. And I just love it.
I've been in this village all my life, and 63rd and Cass for many years was very vibrant. I remember the Zare stores, there were several grocery stores, and over the last couple decades, we've always struggled with this piece of property. It's nice to see a culmination of everyone's efforts finally getting us to that point where we can say, you know what, good job. It's going to bring in businesses, it's going to bring in jobs, it's going to bring in economic development. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who was involved in this project, because I think it's just great to finally seeing this coming to fruition. So I just want to say thank you.
Trustee Barry, Addington.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to thank you. I'd like to thank you for your leadership in this, and I'd really like to thank you for keeping us informed all the way with executive sessions. The board was in tune to what was going on, and our opinions were given, and I really appreciate you that you had us in the loop. So thank you on your leadership, Mr. Mayor.
The only thing I'd want to say is thank these guys, because they were dealing with the same prior ownership that we were frustrated with, and we overcame. And this is a great group of people, what they did with Mariano's and what they'll do with this property. What you're doing for us here is unreal. And thanks for hanging in there. Just like Marianne with an editorium, there were issues, but we overcame. And let's get this out of the way before they change their mind.
And I do have to say that Jay and Chad have been around here quite a bit. We've had a lot of meetings, and everything we've requested, they've been looked to provide for us, and also make some changes for the landscaping. And I know Spencer's been meeting with them, and I don't know if you have anything to add. Nope.
I think that covers the zoning. I'll talk a little bit more when we get to the other pieces, or I can cover it now if you want to, the next couple of agenda items. But we've got, do you want me to cover them now, or?
No, we'll get through these if,
Okay.
All right, any more comments?
Just a great addition. This isn't only good for Westmont, it's good for that whole region. I mean, I wish I still lived on that side of town, but in full disclosure, this is honestly a great addition. Just that whole, I mean, from Downers to Woodridge to Darien, Willowbrook, this is a big shot in the arm for that area, so thanks.
I haven't talked to a resident who, when they find out about this, have had anything but positive.
Yeah.
Not one resident has said, no, jeepers, no.
And we finally can answer the question, what are you going to do about that?
That comes up a lot.
For 3 years, they've been saying, what are you going to do about that? So this is what we're doing about it. No other comments? I need.
And you want to do all 10 separately?
Yes,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
So the first one is a text amendment request to amend Appendix A, Section 7.07 of the Westmont zoning code to add fitness centers and health clubs and general retail as permitted uses in the C1 Commercial Business District. Do I have a
Motion to approve Addington?
Second, Guzzo.
Motion been made in second. No. Roll call, please.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Motion passes. We need the second one, map amendment request to rezone from C1 Commercial Business District to a planned development overlay district in the underlying C1 Commercial Business District.
Motion to approve Addington?
Second, Little.
Motion been made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Motion passes. 3, special use permit request to operate restaurants with an associated drive-in on outlots 1A, 1B, and 2 in the C1 Commercial Business District.
Motion to approve Addington?
Second, Nero.
Motion been made and seconded. Ask for a roll call, please.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Motion passes. Number 4, special use permit request to operate an indoor theater in the C1 Commercial Business District.
Motion to approve Addington?
Second, Guzzo.
Motion been made and second to approve. Roll call, please.
Just a second, I got a little behind here. Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Motion passes. Number 5, zoning code variance request to allow parking in the front yard setback in the C1 Commercial Business District.
Motion to approve, Little.
Second, Guzzo.
Made in second. You ready for roll call? Roll call, please.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Motion passes. Number 6, zoning code variance request to increase the maximum size of ground signs permitted in the C1 Commercial Business District, proposed lots 1A and 1B.
Motion to approve Addington?
Second, Nero.
Motion been made and second, and I know that Joe probably has looked at this. He's our sign expert, so it's been gone through very thoroughly, and I'd ask for a roll call, please.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Motion passes. Number 7, zoning code variance request to increase the maximum number of wall signs permitted in the C1 Commercial Business District, in this proposed lot 5.
Motion to approve, Little.
Second, Nero.
Motion's been made and second to approve. Roll call, please.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Motion passes. Number 8, preliminary plat subdivision.
Motion to approve, Little.
Second, Nero.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Motion passes. Number 9, site and landscaping plan approval.
Motion to approve, Nero.
Second, Little.
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes. Sorry.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Motion passes. And number 10,
Should vote no one.
plan development agreement.
Motion to approve, Little.
Second, Barry.
Mayor? Comment?
Nero.
I just want to, we failed to kind of recognize one more person, Mr. Larry Forsberg, for his help with economic development in the community. Hats off to you.
He has attended every meeting, and
He makes great lemonade, too.
yeah.
Yeah, there you are, all right.
Did you get the second? There was a
Yes.
second.
They were fighting over it, I think.
Oh, they can have it.
I finally gave it to him.
Okay,
It was a toss-up.
Whatever's
I'll
on
get them
your,
next time.
I'd ask for a roll call, please.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes, so we passed all 10, we're looking forward to it. I know you need the next one passed too. So we'll go on to new business C,
Should have been first.
the tax increment financing agreements. Board to consider ordinance authorizing the following tax increment financing, or TIF, agreements with Bradford Westmont 4 LLC and Bradford IM Westmont Venture LLC related to the redevelopment of the northwest corner of 63rd Street and Cass Avenue in Westmont. And in two motions, one is a economic development agreement and two increment tax rebate agreement. And I'm going to turn to Director Parker to add additional comments.
Sure, I'll walk through these. So this is, as was discussed, an agreement that's been a long time making. There's been a lot of different iterations looked at to try to find the best way to make this work in a way that allows the village to be able to maximize costs as well as try to reduce our liability going forward. They've been great to work with as a developer in terms of that. One of the key pieces to this agreement is the similar developer's note that you will see that's very similar to what we did with Mariano's, where it's kind of a pay-as-you-go. So we have a developer's note that says we've got a principal amount of $4.5 million, and the amounts will be paid back to the developers over the course of time as their project goes through. So like Mariano's, we have 50% of the revenues that we receive going back to the developers, the TIF revenues for property taxes, as well as sales tax and places freedom tax. It does not include the infrastructure sales tax that we have, since we need to use that for stormwater and infrastructure. But those taxes and any others that end up being put specifically on those kind of uses, 50% would go back to the developer to help pay off that note. That's one thing that the village has wanted to do, is to do those sort of arrangements so that going forward in the future, it's the success of the project that generates the payment back to the developers, and the developers have been great to work with in regards to that. So that's kind of the big piece of the agreement. There's other pieces of us selling some stormwater to them, as well as some upfront costs to be able to help purchase the land. I think the board's familiar with it, and the details are in the terms that are
using the same agreement as Mariano said, they've been successful meeting those financial projections.
Yes.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Again, we're going to do this as two.
Two, the economic development agreement.
So moved, Barry.
Go ahead. And I'll second Addington.
Motion made, second. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Motion passes. B, increment tax rebate agreement. Need a motion.
Motion to approve, Barry.
Second Addington.
Motion made and seconded. Any additional? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Motion passes. I guess the only thing, other than congratulating you, is an idea of the time frame. If you want to come
When
up.
do you start
Jay,
bulldozing, yeah?
We're going to be asked that.
We'll help you.
No worries. I am glad that you mentioned Larry, because Larry has been terrific, and I hope you didn't think we ignored you, because he has been at every meeting. He has been a great communicator, liaison, and facilitator for all of us. So he's just a real asset. We are attempting to close in early to mid-August. We have, as you know, some environmental cleanup to do. So the goal is to get there's asbestos in the buildings and some other environmental cleanup that has to happen. To get that done this fall, get the buildings down this fall, before winter. We could even do demolition through winter, and then start going vertical next spring. So that's hopefully in August, close, start work in September, and go vertical next spring.
Sounds good.
We'll hope for an early spring.
Yeah.
Again, I keep mentioning Larry, who was tremendous during this. Do you have anything, Larry, you'd like to add? Thumbs up. Yeah. So we look forward to everything being down.
I hope people realize that with these two projects, the value of what's being done on both the north and south of town, what this does for our libraries, our parks, and our two school systems is almost unbelievable. And this is really, again, just like we talked about with the natatorium, what they'll bring into town, what these projects do for the other taxing bodies. The village gets a little bit too, but I mean, this is really the schools and the park and the library. They get a big portion of this, and this is an unbelievable win for them too. So this is great. And now we can talk about when it's going to happen, not what are you trying to do there.
And the other thing is, now that these two projects will be done, we're hoping it stimulates more growth in the TIF district down there. So we appreciate you staying with us and doing the second project.
If I could say one more thing.
Yes.
Yeah, amen.
Mr. Mayor,
sum it up. Yeah.
I think not too long ago when we were looking at different numbers of these projects, I think this is, with the car dealers going on, the natatorium, the potential of the downtown projects, it wouldn't be crazy to say that we're increasing the value of the town by $1 billion. You know, it's crazy that these, you know, you 50 million here, 50 million here, it adds up in a hurry, and that's great for all of us as residents. So it's a great situation.
Normal resident, and I was one of those before I became mayor. I said, why doesn't it happen now? It just takes time. With this person selling the property, as well as working out all the other details. So congratulations.
Well, the other side too is finding folks like Bradford who are quality developers who are willing to work with us and have come into this community, and thank you guys.
Thank you. Yeah. We look forward to the groundbreaking or whatever.
Amen. Don't do it on the same day as an natatorium. I want to come to both.
Well, thank you. Move on the agenda to new business D. The award of bid proposal to 2018 North Warwick 400 block stormwater improvement project. Board to consider an ordinance accepting the bid proposal from Austin Tyler Construction for the village's 2018 North Warwick 400 block stormwater improvement project, and authorizing a contract consistent with the bid documents. And I've got Director Ramsey.
Thank you, Mayor. I get the fun privilege of following those three great projects. I'm going to be Mr. Anticlimactic tonight, so I will try to make this as exciting as possible. These two projects won't be as good as those two, but I will try to do my best. But as Mr. Fleck had said earlier when he was up here, this is the first step of redeveloping Fritz Worley Park. So the village accepted the 9 bid proposals from contractors last week for the 218 North Warwick 400 block stormwater improvement project. The low bidder was Austin Tyler Construction with a low bid of $956,832.66, was approximately 9% below the engineering estimate. Our recommendation as staff is to award the contract to Austin Tyler.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve. Barry?
Second, Little.
Motion been made and second to approve. On the question.
Have we worked with them before?
Actually, we have not, but we're going to work with them a couple times this summer. They're going to be doing the Burr Oak water main project, which will be, we have our pre-con on Monday, and they will be starting up there probably in about 2 weeks. So, and they just got done doing the work on William Street for Downers Grove. They are very, very reputable, a great company. Well, I've heard nothing but great things from them, but they have not worked in Westmont yet until this year.
Okay, good.
And 9 bidders is up.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great turnout.
Yeah, well,
couldn't ask
that
for a
keeps
better
the price
turnout than
down.
that.
Any other? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Perry?
Yes.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Addington?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Nero?
Yes.
Motion passes. New business E, engineering agreement 2018 North Warwick 400 block stormwater improvement project. Board to consider ordinance authorizing an engineering agreement with Christopher Burke Engineering for Phase 3 construction inspection, engineering, and material testing services on the 2018 North Warwick 400 block stormwater improvement project. And this goes along with the last one, and Director Ramsey.
Thank you, Mayor. This is just a request to approve the sum of $126,272 for the Phase 3 construction, engineering, and inspection of material services by Christopher Burke. It's just the final phase of the engineering that we need to be done for this project. You all aware we've worked with Christopher Burke for quite a long time. They're a great engineering firm. We're very excited to be working with them again.
Do I have a motion?
So move Guzzo.
Second, Little.
Motion made in second on the question. Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Parker.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Motion passes. New business F.
Well, can I make one more comment?
Yes.
There's still a little bit of work has to be done there, but once this is done, and I've seen some of the thoughts that the Park District has, that's going to change the whole face of Fitzroy Park and turn that, again, from what has been something of a little community park into really, this is going to be a nice park when it's done. And going to be a nice, another asset to the community, so.
This is that component that was described during the natatorium presentation, so this is that other component.
Not to mention a huge stormwater improvement, too.
Oh.
Yeah, that's worth pointing out, because by our transferring the property, it did not eliminate the purposes that we acquired the property for in the first place. So we get the stormwater management improvement and the park improvement.
I think I've mentioned over the years that there were a couple of times when I first moved on the north side that I saw people rowing boats after huge storms on Warwick, and hopefully we're going to take care of some of that with this.
I think the key to point out is that they're going to manage it and design it after stormwater requirements are met. So they're going to take what's there and left over and make it into a usable park. And this isn't any different than what we've done for the past 30 years with the village, with us. I'm now the village, we've had this agreement for many years. This just is more of a formal agreement. So I ask for a roll call, please.
On which item?
No, we already did that. I would just drew my 2 cents in after the fact.
I thought, I don't have anything.
Thanks for that, too.
Always Addington.
Addington did it again.
Time's cruising night's over.
New business F. Award of bid proposal 2018 Roslyn West End Burlington Storm Sewer Project. Board to consider an ordinance accepting the bid proposal from John Neary Construction for the village's 2018 Roslyn West End Burlington Storm Sewer Project and authorizing a contract consistent with the bid documents. Director Ramsey.
Thank you, Mayor. The village accepted 4 bid proposals for the 2018 Roslyn West End Burlington Storm Sewer Project. The low bidder was John Neary Construction with a low bid of $738,498, which was approximately 4% under the engineering estimate of $765,545. As I stated at the last board meeting, we had an open house 3 weeks ago now, and we had a lot of residents come out from that area, and they are very excited about this project because if you've ever been out there anytime after any rain, or even well after rain, their backyards are always flooded. Not only that, but we've always had issues with flooding on West End and on Roslyn, so this is going to hopefully solve most of those problems, if not all the problems. So all the residents that we had at that open house were very excited about this. So I think this is going to be a great project for that whole community out there.
So Mike, will this help the residents on Cumner Street also that are having
yes,
those issues?
Yeah, on our side, not on the downer side. Yeah, but on the ones that back up to that, yes, because
that's
they're
part
affected.
of that, not just Roslyn.
Yes,
great,
correct.
Great. I know they've been struggling for a long time there.
Yes.
We have a motion.
So move, Barry.
Second, Nero.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any additional comments or questions?
No, get it done.
Seeing on roll call, please.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Motion passes. New business G, engineering agreement, 2018 Roslyn West End Burlington Storm Sewer Project. Board to consider an ordinance authorizing an engineering agreement with Engineering Solutions Team for Phase 3 construction, inspection, engineering, and material testing services on the 2018 Roslyn West End Burlington Storm Sewer Project. Director Ramsey.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, we're requesting the sum of $119,920 for Phase 3 construction, inspection, and engineering material services for the Village 2018 Roslyn West End Burlington Storm Sewer Project. This is the final phase, Phase 3 for construction of the engineering and design, so we're just asking for this money to cover that cost.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve, Little?
Second Guzzo.
Motion been made and second to approve. Any comments or questions?
Just one thing,
Yes.
and maybe to Manager May, this would go. Since those residents have reached out to us on several times, would it be possible that the village would reach out to them and tell them that this project is coming? I mean, more so than just the mail when it starts. Is there a way we can, even just respond to that bulk mail that we had, I think it was 6-8 months ago or so?
Sure. You know they're all watching your vote.
Well, hopefully they're not watching, but just so we, again, improve that
It's a good point.
communication.
And as Mike described, it was a long time coming, and there was a lot of participation and interest, and this is a valuable project, not just for the right-of-ways, but the ability to pick up the private properties too, so.
That's a good idea, great idea.
Thank you. We'll put it in Westmont Word.
Don't do that.
Any additional? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
New business H, sale of real estate. Board to consider an ordinance approving a real estate contract for the sale of 1 West Quincy Street, Westmont, by the village. I'm going to look at Manager May for some additional comments.
Sure. This is it's related to the development that we're calling 1 West Cass. The developer, part of this development is the 1 West Quincy at Cass. The multiple properties are involved, including a village-owned parcel on the corner, or we know it as Mary Egan Park. So this real estate, this agreement, we enter into the agreement, we wouldn't close for a very long time. There are still a lot of steps that the developer has to do, but this is one component to put in place to allow them to proceed with their other components with their lenders and do the rest of their due diligence. So this establishes the sale price and, yeah.
So, Steve, does this include the alley with this, or is it just the park?
It does not. This is just the park because it's an actual parcel. When we get into a development agreement phase, the alley right-of-way portions it's considered a vacation, so it's handled differently, even though it's for a price.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion?
No.
Do it.
Motion to sell the property, Addington.
Second, Little?
Motion made
Mayor?
and second. Yes, question, on the question.
Yeah. Just two things. One, I think it's important to point out, whoever is listening, that if the project doesn't get approved, the sale doesn't go through.
Correct, yes.
And then also, I'd like to make sure that staff is working on the appropriate location for the statue that's out there. Because it means a lot to a lot of people. That's all. Thank you.
And also to dedicate something to Mary Egan.
Yeah, it is unusual. You all know, but there is a separate park district that manages the park spaces, and this is, other than our grounds like at the depot and village buildings, this is the only, we call it Mary Egan Park, but it's the only park space that the village maintains, and it was mostly to keep the property under our control. And the Christmas tree.
Yes.
And the tree.
Need a home for that.
On top of the new building.
Holidays tree, I mean.
I'd ask for roll call.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Motion passes, and we move to we already addressed new business I. We'll move on to miscellaneous. I have one quick
Go ahead.
item. I think, on top of thanking everybody, we had one individual who, Jill Ziegler, who was
Thank you.
very instrumental with the natatorium, keeping Mary Ann here and happy. So I want to, and also with the 63rd Street when she was here. So I want to give her a compliment because all that work was started with her on staff. So,
And I'm glad to see Joe is continuing her landscape passion that she had with all
Yes.
that stuff there. And,
Doesn't Joe look
that was a
tired?
big part of that.
No, he's fine.
It's not even 8 o'clock, right?
Probably, if you think it to be appropriate to have Steve just drop her a note and tell her these got done.
I will.
I think she would appreciate that we thought of how she started this and let her know that these are, finally got to this point.
It was sent about 30 seconds after you voted.
Oh, see?
Excellent.
Thank you, because I think she would appreciate that.
I agree.
and I have to, somebody mentioned before the work that planning and zoning.
They were
Bree might have
phenomenal.
mentioned that. They do a tremendous amount of the background work for us. They get the sworn statements from people and the comments. And fortunately for us, these two were not very controversial. And as we know, planning and zoning can do a great job, but we have something that residents are concerned about, we'll get a full audience. So like we did when the Oak Brook Hills was originally proposing this there. So any other miscellaneous?
I just want to say a PS of thanks to Joe too, because he was here Saturdays, Sundays, early in the morning, late. He put in a lot of hours, so
Yeah.
thanks, Joe.
Staff, tremendous work the staff has done.
staff
So
was great,
all I
all
can
of
say
them,
is,
including
Thinking
Joe.
about him when we were at the beer tent. We were.
yeah. Think about it. If seeing no additional information, we're not going to have an executive session. I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, Addington.
Second, Nero.
Motion made and second to adjourn. Roll call,
This was
please.
unbelievable, right?
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
I want to
Yes.
thank everybody. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.